Well, the Snowy 2.0 project is moving at a snail's pace after being plagued by significant challenges and delays. It's been revealed now that the giant tunnel boring machine known as Florence has completed less than 250 metres of work since drilling resumed in December. Now, the scheme might get a fourth tunnel boring machine to make up for lost ground. Joining me now is former Snowy Hydro Chief Executive Paul Broad. Paul, this has got to be the slowest among the most expensive projects in Australia.
Well, it's certainly turning out to be the most expensive, Laura, that's for sure. Florence is a complex machine and it's got to go for 18 kilometres. The fact that it had trouble early, it really reflects poorly on the contractor who's running the machine. They knew all about it. There was no mystery in the soft ground that was right in front of them. So the fact that it had issues early really reflects poorly on them. And at 16 kilometres in, this machine is going to run into 1.5 kilometres of very soft ground. So they better get it right. They better sort this operation of this wonderful machine out. But I can tell you, Laura, the greatest risk for Snowy and construction is still in front of them. They've got to build a tunnel boring machine to go uphill to build the inclined pressure shaft. That is very, very complex. On a world standard, it's right up there. And if they do so successfully, Snowy will go down as one of the leading examples of phenomenally good engineering driven by Australian engineering companies. So while Florence is causing no end of drama, there are a lot of other good things going on. My issue is just that contractor needs to sort themselves out very quickly.
Look, this is not the first problem that we've reported with the delays in Snowy Hydro. I mean, this is meant to provide a stability and clean, green energy at a reasonable cost. Nothing seems reasonable about it at this point.
Well, I think the costing, I think the consumers, to the extent you have renewables, you've got to need firming. You've got to have a night when the sun's not shining, you've got to have it, and you've got to have it on scale. Now, to meet the government's own targets by 2030, AEMO says you're going to need 8 2.0s or their equivalents. That'll take 60 years, not 6. So the concept of this massive change going on in our energy sector needs these massive investments, which will have lots of risk about them. And the fact that, like many others in Europe and elsewhere, the need to have a discussion about nuclear as well needs to get on the table. Just simply dismissing it for no real for simply saying for ideological reasons rather than rational reasons is madness. So we need to have that discussion. We need to have discussion about why 2.0 is being delayed so long and why the contractor is performed so poorly. Why is it that the contract now has a cost-plus model to deliver on? So why you shouldn't be surprised then that costs have gone up. So the whole concept of what's going on in there in this last 18 months needs to be looked at independently.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will happen. But, there are certainly issues with it.
Yeah, certainly. And you mentioned nuclear, so let's go down that path. Why is that part of a solution for us here in Australia? And wouldn't it take, again, too long to get up and running?
Well, life's a long time. I mean, nuclear, we went down, we've got nuclear submarines. We think that's okay to put them in a sub, but it's not okay to put it on the ground. So I don't accept the argument that it's somehow inherently wrong. In the rest of the world, in Europe today, they're really spending a lot of time looking at these package plants. They're looking at how you scale up nuclear. The French are building lots more of it. In Wyoming, in the States, they're using a lot more. So I just don't, you shouldn't rule these things in or out. And I just don't, you cannot have renewables have 100% of the system with 100% reliability at a price point we are today. To say that is just completely wrong.
Sure, but Paul, I look around, up and down the East Coast in particular, and there is rally after rally, community after community protesting against wind farms or vast solar farms in their patch. I mean, if there's that kind of community backlash against wind farms and solar farms, imagine when the government starts to find locations for nuclear sites and waste sites.
So what happens when one of these nuclear subs comes in and parks itself in one of the harbours around the country? We're going to have protests then? We've got to, as a community, we've got to have these debates amongst ourselves in an open, honest, rational way. I'm not saying everyone's going to agree, change is difficult.
But I'm just talking
You
about the
can't-
political challenge, Paul. I mean, if there's this community sentiment about wind farms, imagine when it's about nuclear.
Well, I agree with you. It's not going to be easy, but I do think these packaged plants that are happening in Wyoming and the States, put on the sites where our coal plants are today, would be a massive step forward in the right direction, in my view. And
Okay.
I've had people out from Wyoming. I've spoken to a lot of what's happening in Europe and the States in recent times. It's been don't know why I keep doing it, but my interests are still there. So I try to find out more about it. And we are in such a great position, particularly here in the harbour, to put packaged plants on the sites, on the sites up here at Bayswater and out of Aurora. And we have sites available in Australia where we have infrastructure. We've had long-standing coal plants built in all the right protections to put the packaged nuclear plants in, and I think that'd be a great step in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll see who's politically brave to start pinpointing those locations. I don't know whether it's going to happen this side of an election, Paul. But finally, before I let you go, interesting to note in the ABC's Nemesis documentary, Turnbull did call the Snowy Hydro one of his most proudest achievements while he was in power. Did he do the right thing by Snowy?
Yeah.
Where did the stuff up start occurring?
Well, I'm interested to see, because when I left Snowy 18 months ago, we had an audit and which said the thing was on track and on budget. So something seems to have gone awfully wrong.
What's gone wrong there?
I think I'd love to understand that a little bit more. It seems to be when the political process changed, things started to go awry. Certainly, Bowen didn't want me around. So, maybe there's something in all that.
Why didn't Bowen like you?
I don't know.
Why doesn't Bowen like you?
Maybe he saw me tied too much to the things I loved and a bit passionate about it and was frank and free. Maybe he saw me, for whatever reason, despite the fact I worked for all sides of politics, maybe he saw me as politically tainted. I'm not sure. I knew well before the government was elected that I'd be in trouble. Yeah. Anyway, he did.
How did you get that memo?
No, it didn't. It's a long story there. It's another day I'll talk to you about. But It doesn't really matter. I don't really matter in the scheme of things. I just worry about the fact that this wonderful scheme, like Turnbull, I'm very proud of it. I tell you, I'm incredibly proud of it. And I'm incredibly proud of the people down there who do a great job. And I'm incredibly proud of the mountains. And I'll defend it with every bone in my body. And I'll call out when I think it's wrong. So it's a good thing. So Turnbull's right in that respect. And Turnbull, with all the critics, he worked incredibly hard to bring it to fruition. There's no doubt about that. Malcolm worked phenomenally hard. I've never seen a Prime Minister, I've dealt with a few of them, spend as much time as he did on all parts of this project. So, no, he did. He was very constructive in getting it to the stage it did at the point when certainly I left 18 months ago, it was in great shape.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll try and find out what happened there, Paul. Good to finally have you on the show. We'll talk again.
Sure will, Laura. Talk soon. Bye.